I'm not a morning person.
Dedicated to being passionate about it.
Bodybuilders have become more lazy.
People have always thought I lift fake weights.
Iran and the United States.
You take responsibility for that.
Yeah, what was it like when you just arrived there? Like, you know what I mean? It's a big difference, obviously, right?
Oh God, yes. Well, I took a Greyhound bus, one-way ticket, because I said to myself, I'm not coming back. This is it. You know, I told my sisters I'm leaving and I'm never coming back. What do you mean not coming back? I said, I'm going to LA and that's it. If I survive, I make it. If I don't, I don't. The bus arrived downtown LA. It was congested, crowded, noisy, dirty, filthy. It was just wall to wall people. I mean, it's like another planet. That's what I thought. I said, this is like being on Mars. Nothing like St. Louis, where I'm from, or Memphis. Laid back, you know, Midwest, come on. So yeah, that's what it was like. And I spent 10 days, I'm not going to tell you, I want you to read the book. I spent 10 days downtown. Don't ask me why so long. I think in shock of where to go. I had never been to LA. I didn't know anyone.
Did you have any money with you?
I had $75. And yeah, I was cutting the lawns for my neighbors and miscellaneous stuff. Some parts I'm leaving out because I was not with my auntie at the time. Maybe people should read about that. So I was with my adopted mother. I was adopted when I was 16. So I was living with her and my best friend, Scott. So yeah, I would cut the people's lawn, came up with $75, and I took back my graduation clothes for the rest of the money. So one-way ticket was $75 and 2 pairs of jeans. And very tough in the beginning, very tough. LA is, you know, LA then is LA now. It didn't change. I'm sure it's worse. So downtown LA was just crazy. After 10 days, I made my way to Venice, to Santa Monica, Venice. And I went to the original Gold's Gym and on Pacific Avenue. I mean, it's like a blessing to be able to see that up close. I walked in the first day and I saw Joe Weider. He was training Frank Zane. Frank had the belt on very tight and he was like really tan, he was really cut. So I just went and sat in the corner and I just watched. And I was 19 years old. I know all their names. I saw them on TV. He was taking photos of him. There was Robbie Robinson. There was Emmanuel Perry. You name it, they're all was there, except for Arnold. He was not there. And for about a half an hour, I was just watching them work out. And it was the most intense training sessions I've ever seen. I mean, you're not drinking water. You're not talking. You don't have enough energy to talk. So, and they all look mean. They're very intense. I think it was a couple of months before the 76 Mr. Olympia, because the gym was full of all the pros. Bill Grant, you name it, they were there. And they all had these massive arms. Like, man, they got huge arms. And a small waistline. Everybody had very small waist. And I was sitting there going, if I train hard enough, I think someday I could be like these guys. That's what I said to myself. And then I got thrown out of the gym.
Why?
I didn't have any money. And I'm sitting, and he goes, hey, kid, what are you sitting in the corner? Get over here. So I went over to the front counter. I think the guy's name was Dan Howard. I'll never forget his name. He looked at me and he goes, what are you doing here? I said, well, can I work out for the day? He says, no. Do you have any money? I don't have any money. And then I asked him if Arnold was there. He says, no, he was here a couple hours ago. He said, we can't have you hanging around the gym. You got to leave. Okay. So I took my little suitcase, and I walked out. And then from there, you know, from Gold's Gym, Pacific Avenue to Muscle Beach, it's like, you know, 5 minutes walk right off the boardwalk. So I walked over there.
Right on the ocean.
Yes, right on the beach. The old, with the weight pen, the old one. And that's where I ended up. And I would train there every day because it was $3 for the day. No, for the week. So I would train there, and a lot of the pros were actually training out there. It was a very popular place. People from all over the world, tourists, just hanging around the weight pen, watching guys lift weights. I mean, you know, at those days, it was a new bodybuilding was so new. I mean, it was in the mid-70s. What is bodybuilding? What do you call that? These guys build their muscles? I mean, back in St. Louis, I would go to school every day, and the guys, they would notice I was getting bigger. It's, oh my God, Hercules. They call me Hercules. I thought I was big. I was not big at all, but I had muscles. But the other side was, you must be some freak because you're at the weight room every day. You know, you don't lift weights. What is that? So they couldn't understand. And you're in the mirror, you're lifting weights, you want big arms, big chest. So you had to be in California. That was the only place in America that was, I guess, acceptable going to LA. And I think that's one of the reasons a lot of the guys from all over the world would go to Venice to work out and train.
How did you go from that point to where you became a professional and when you started working out with Arnold? Because I know you Arnold became close, right?
Yes, he discovered me. From that point on, about 4 months later, I won Mr. Venice Beach, and I was so proud. First title. And then about a month later, Arnold came over to me doing one of my crazy squat sessions, 10 sets of 10. It's 110 degrees outside. And, you know, you're outside, and I'm squatting with no mirrors. And I turn around, and Arnold was there, and he says, you know, I've been watching you. You're training really hard. You got, you know, potential, and you're going to be a great champion someday. That's what he said. Really? So, yeah, he was the first one to introduce me to Joe Weider. And he wrote down the address. I had never heard of Joe Weider. He wrote down the address, and from Venice to Woodland Hills, where the office was, I had to take 3 buses to get there. That's how long it took. And it didn't go very well with Joe. He looked at me and he goes, first thing he said, Arnold sent you here? With that voice. And I said, yeah, you know, I'm 19 years old. I'm going to be in a magazine. I'm excited. And he goes, okay. And he turned away and he goes, Jack. The guy name was Jack Neary. He says, write an article on this kid. Arnold sent him. And Joe walked away. So from that day forward, Joe and I never got along. He never accepted me. So I spent my whole career trying to prove something.
To Joe.
Yeah, right. So yeah, so that's how it all began. I won Mr. Venice Beach, and then I started doing tons of amateur shows. I won the Junior Mr. Los Angeles, and I won the Mr. Los Angeles, Mr. Southwest. I did all those shows, all those amateur shows, state of California. And I won most of them in a few seconds. And then 1978, that's when it really happened for me. I won the Junior USA, Junior Mr. America, and then I won the Mr. America all in the same year. And I won the Mr. LA. If you win Mr. LA in those days, you are going somewhere because the competitors are very intense.
You became a pro. You became a pro after that show, right?
No, because Mr. America is amateur, AAU. What happened was I won and I got suspended because after the show I won Mr. America. I think I'm going to get these major contracts. You know, you're going to be famous. You know, and I didn't get any contracts or endorsements. So now I'm starving. I went homeless again. America's champion sleeping on somebody else's sofa. That was me. And I got a phone call from South America, and this guy said, "Tony Pearson, we know who you are, and you know you're the current champ, and we want you to guest post for us." And but first thing he said, it's not sanctioned by the IFBB. Is that okay? And I was so broke. I said yes. I go down, I pose, and the night I go there, and there's a telegram. So in those days, you get a telegram. It was from the president of the IFBB. And it read, if you pose tomorrow, you will be suspended for life. So I had to make a decision, you know, go home broke or pose. I posed.
You got to get paid. I mean,
yeah, you got to eat. I mean, you know. So I posed, and then I got my life suspension. People don't know I was suspended for life. And then I'm bouncing around from sofa to sofa, friend's house, and I got a call from Providence, Rhode Island, about 6 months later, and the guy says, "Hey, man, I want you to guest pose in my show. It's not IFBB sanctioned." Okay, so I go to Providence, Rhode Island, and I guest pose, And I was always in shape. Genetically, I got a fast metabolism. I was training really hard. I was always in shape. So I was in really top form for that gas posing. Come off stage, and this kid run backstage. He goes, "Man, you're in great shape. Mr. World is in New York next weekend. You should go. I'll drive you." Okay, why not? So I was happy to get to New York because his driving was crazy. I almost died going there. So I won the show in New York, and that's how I turned pro. That's how.
So they let you become a pro.
Yes, yes. I won Mr. World. It was WABA, not WABA. It was WBBG. Dan Laurie's show. And if you win that show, which I did, you automatically get a ticket to go to London to compete with Mr. Universe same year. So I go to London, and I came in second to Lulu from Turkey. He won major shows, and I thought I should have won. Of course, we're going to think that it was a battle. I wrote about it. It was a battle, but he wins, so I got second, and I came back home, and the following year I went back to London, and I won the Pro Universe. And then came back home after a couple of years. My friend said to me, good friend of mine, he passed away. His name is Kent Keane. He used to be the manager at Gold's Gym. And he goes, "Man, you need to write a letter to the IFBB. They'll let you back in." I was naive once again. I knew nothing about life. I didn't know anything about politics. I thought if you're the best guy on stage, you're going to win. That's all I knew. I don't know how to game. I don't play games. I didn't know how it works. So that's what I wrote a letter, and I got reinstated back to the IFBB. And that's when I started competing in their shows. My first show was in Australia for the IFBB Mr. Universe 1981. I came in third. I don't want to give the plot away about what happened, what the judge told me backstage, but I knew from that point on I was never going to win the show. So, but I continued to compete.
I'm assuming it was politics, right?
Yes. Yes. A very important judge said to me, "This is what's going to happen."
Did that come from basically Joe Weider's influence?
I think so, because he was so sure of himself, and so, he knew exactly what was happening. And I'm thankful to this day that he shared that information with me, because when you really think you should win a show and you don't, how depressing that gets and how discouraging that gets. But from that point on, I realized my chances of winning are very slim. Just go in shape and give a good show. And that's what I did. Every time I would go in the best form as I could possibly be and try to do the best performance I can. Because in those days, posing meant a lot. People pay to see you perform. Bodybuilding is an art form. You go on stage and you're a performer, even though you're not speaking, but your body's speaking. Your expression, the music, your transitions. This is art. And you become an artist. And I learned that from this great poser, Jimmy Caruso from Toronto, Canada. I had the pleasure for 4 hours one day. He says, "I'm going to teach you. Knees here, toes here, fingers here, this. And I practice every day."
So after you heard that rumor or behind the scenes that you would never win the show again, like what was your game plan? Just do as many guest appearances and make money that way, and just kind of create a career based on putting on a show for the people, basically?
Yes, getting reinstated I have to give Weider credit for that. Thank you still. Because if I didn't get reinstated, I'm really done. But that allowed me to do seminars and exhibitions. Because you're IFBB Pro, you're not winning, but you're a pro, and you're a member of the IFBB. So they, all over the world, they can call you up and you can guest post. And that's what I was doing. But the moment the guy said to me, I looked at him and I go, "I'm not a competitor anymore. This is a business."
You're a performer.
Yes. And he did say to me, "You'll always make money." And I go, "Okay." So I was not. Of course, you want to win. You want to win every time you step on stage. But if I lost, it's okay because that brought me more attention and more exhibitions.
So regarding Joe Weider, I mean, obviously he built a huge empire, right? That's a fact. I heard questionable things about him, from some people, and obviously you said some things about him right now, obviously, right? But how do you think he's remembered right now by you? If you think of Joe Weider's legacy, positive, negative, what do you think?
I have to say positive because they created bodybuilding, those two brothers. And without them, their creation, without me getting reinstated, my career was over. I mean, the European tour was cut short. You win NABA University, and you win WABA World, and you win New York, and then where do you go? But the IFBB was still there. So, of course, I would like to be on Joe Weider's covers. I got one cover of Flex magazine because of Ricky Wayne. I got no publicity from them. But I got all the covers elsewhere around the world. I got all the European covers. And that part I don't understand. Because if they had to decide to use me on the cover, I'm not tooting my own horn, I think it would have sold. The Michael Jackson of bodybuilding, the hottest guy, dancer. I mean, it's a business. Personally, I guess they didn't like me. I have to say positive because in my book, I thanked him for allowing me to have a career in bodybuilding, for giving me that opportunity. Yes, of course, I wanted to win. I would always place the top five, top six. But I won one. I won one individual IVB show, and that was in Denver, 1983. I did mixed pairs, couples competition. I won 6 of those, 6 out of 7.
They should bring that back. I don't know why they don't do that anymore, right? The mix, like a man and a woman pose together. I feel like it was very artistic. It was a cool thing,
Yeah. I think that would be the best thing ever now because of social media.
Yeah.
I mean, look at all these competitors around the world. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and I see incredible bodies, men and women, pair them up, get a choreographer, come up with a routine. I'm telling you, nationally in America, the companies will endorse that. They would promote this. It would be the biggest thing ever because it's a performance. You're forced to perform. You don't just walk on stage and hit a couple of shots, wave to the crowd. That's not bodybuilding. That's not art. It's lost the magic. So yeah, I've been writing Instagram occasionally. Please bring it back. Please bring it back. You want to see couples on stage. I competed in a show last year here in town. This is my last time, and that this couple came out, and they were pros. Even though I told them so. You guys are really, really rehearsed. You guys are on point. And the other problem with couples posing, there's a lot of work involved, and people are selfish, and people are all about themselves. You have to leave your ego at the door. You got 2 world champions here. Respect and put something together. I had 4 different partners, and I respected all 4 of them. They had talent, and I listened to them. And they listened to me, and that's how we came up with these routines.